let's look more closely at high school education today. What's working? What is not working? Here to show us the raw numbers from around the country is Denise Forte, the president and CEO of Education Trust. Denise's talk is going to be accompanied by visualizations from award-winning writer and illustrator Mona Shalabi. So please join me in welcoming Denise up to our stage.
Thank you, Soledad, for that introduction. I am really excited to be in this room with you all here and to follow such a great conversation about why we were all here. As Soledad said, I'm Denise Forte. I'm president and CEO of the Education Trust, where we dig deep into the causes and solutions for dismantling the racial and economic barriers in the American education system. I want to talk briefly about the state of things in our nation's high schools and why Ed Trust is embracing, rethinking, and reimagining in this moment. High school is a lot. I've got a junior in high school and one entering soon, so trust me, it is a lot. It is a unique rite of passage that we've all gone through. But let me move us along before we all go down that rabbit hole of our own high school experiences that are better left in the days before social media. High school is a pathway to the future, a time when young people learn so much about themselves and hopefully about the world. Every year, entire movies are made about the high school experience. In so many ways, high school represents the future and possibility, not only for those students in high school classrooms today, but for all of us as a nation and as a world. The challenges we face in the future will be solved by students in classrooms today. Yet even when our young people are excited about their futures, excited about the possibilities, many aren't prepared for those futures. On the SAT, only 2 out of every 5 students who take it are on track to be college and career ready. And the places that should be preparing them for their futures are struggling. Our high schools are struggling to connect with students, to teach in ways that reach them, that help them learn. When a nationwide Yale survey asked high school students how they felt at school, between 1/4 to 1/3 of responses said they felt tired, stressed, and bored. Less than 3% of respondents said they were interested. Perhaps not unrelated, our country's students are missing far too many school days. Chronic absenteeism is a problem. In fact, close to 1 in 7 students are absent from school more than 10% of the time. And that was pre-pandemic. Post-pandemic numbers are even higher. In some places, well over half of all students are chronically absent. And yet the choices that are made by institutions, by systems, by individuals and groups enacting and instituting policies and de facto practices are still sidestepping some of the strongest solutions we have for improving academic outcomes. It should sadly come as no surprise then that young people are starting off in high school behind and leaving behind. On NAEP, the nation's report card, which has assessed student learning since the early 70s, the math and reading scores of 13-year-old students are at 30 and 50-year lows. So that's a pretty stark story. But let me tell you a different one. So growing up, my dad served in the military, which meant I traveled quite frequently during my childhood. And one of the most memorable chapters of my life was during high school, when we lived on a military post in Germany. And something about that experience stuck with me ever since. The intentionality of school leadership in creating a place where students genuinely wanted to be. What if all high schools were intentionally designed to inspire students to learn and grow? What if classrooms were equipped with the latest technology? What if the teachers and curriculum reflected students' diverse experiences and the books were ones they truly wanted to read? How transformative could learning be if schools were built not just to teach, but to excite, to engage, and to empower? Now, to be sure, there are places in the US where that is happening right now. Elizabethton High School in Shelby County, Tennessee, is a large comprehensive high school, embraces student-centered design, encloses graduation rate gaps. Their students actively participate in shaping their own learning experiences. Students at Latitude High in Oakland, California, participate in a place and project-based learning environment that emphasizes real school, real world experiences, deepening community connections to Oakland and other local communities. 87% of students at Latitude say they are extremely, very, or somewhat interested in their classes. And our research at EdTrust also shows that school districts are embracing these approaches. Places like Dallas, ISD's P-Tech High School, allowing students to earn their free associate degrees and industry certificates while providing career exposure, or Pinellas County in Florida, where students get to explore what post-high school opportunities interest them most and get support with plans, internships, and more to help them achieve those dreams. What will it take to get us from these pockets of progress to a nation full of the kind of schools our students deserve? It will take the work we all know, the research, the advocacy, the policy change, but it will also take us embracing a sense of imagination. Right here in DC, high schools are partnering with XQ and using its design journey to unite the community around a vision for redesign. At Calvin Coolidge, students will graduate as advocates of sustainable practices. At HD Woodson, students will graduate as passion activators with career certifications or an associate degree to inspire their communities. And the educators at Columbia Heights Educational Campus are advancing project-based learning and a global multilingual approach to empower students to address critical issues in their community. At EdTrust, we call this hashtag EduReimagined. We're inviting partners, fellow advocates, educators, anyone who cares about students to imagine an education system where race and income no longer determine a child's future, where the equity we dream about and envision fully becomes a reality. And in fact, when we look at social movements, when we look at the change that has happened, imagination has played a very important role. Professor Robin Kelly is a scholar and historian currently at UCLA, calls on us to embrace dreaming, freedom dreaming, as he dubs it, in our pursuit of change. Without new visions, he says, we don't know what to build, only what to knock down. I want to go back to the data from the nation's report card. I mentioned we are at 30 and 50-year lows. These are statistics that those of us in education advocacy often cite to provoke a sense of righteous anger that we hope compels action. But how do we also know what to build? Now, I want us all to think about what the report card could look like 50 years from now, 30 years from now, what it means to not just make up the ground we've lost, but to go far beyond that. And before the seeds of doubt creep in, and as you go to answer that question, think of all the things we've done in 30 years and 50 years. I passed at least 3 recycling bins on my way in, but 50 years ago, recycling was just a new idea, trying to take hold more broadly. 30 years ago, if you wanted to watch a TV show, you had to be sitting in front of a television at precisely the right time, possibly adjusting an antenna. 50 years ago, people were starting to have home computers. Now we carry them around in our pockets. And nearly 5 years ago, the pandemic taught us that we could do things very differently when we needed to. What would our nation's report card look like if we put our energy wholeheartedly into making our dreams for students into the reality of how our high schools operate? What would it look like in just 5 years, 10 years? Because our students cannot wait. We are capable of so much immense, rapid change. Surely there are factors that are going to propel change forward or curtail it. And the work of advocacy will always involve strategizing around those factors. In his writings on freedom dreaming and Afrofuturism, Robin Kelley talks about this concept of lessening the contradiction between our daily lives and our wildest dreams. A lot of our world tells us that dreaming is a removed act, one we either don't control or do as an escape. But dreaming, imagining can create the precipice for action. So I want to leave us with that call for action. We have to reimagine what education looks like. We can reimagine what education looks like. In fact, we must reimagine what education looks like. I challenge all of us to use the data, continue the amazing work, and to dream, and to couple that imagining with action. Think about what actions we are taking, what actions we will take that lessen the contradiction between our students' daily lives and the wildest dreams of what those lives, those classrooms, those school buildings could look and feel like. Thank you so much.